Hi, my name is Chris. In this video I'm going to show you how to make SVG animation in After Effects and how I prepare my files in Illustrator. There's also a second part, and that's another video. I will show you how you can export your animation as an SVG and use them in your WordPress website. If you're only interested in that, go to my other video, you can find it on my channel. And while you're here, subscribe to my channel. I'll be making some other videos on how to make SVG animations and what you can do with it. So let's first have a look at what we are going to create today. So I already made this. This is what we're making today. It's a tablet that goes to the size of a phone, and then it does a little twirl, and then it goes back again. So let's first jump into Illustrator and see how I made up this file. So I have 4 layers, and the first layer is my phone, and in my phone I have all the elements, and I put them on separate layers. The second layer is my tablet, and that also has its own layers. The third layer and fourth layer are the background and my logo. My logo is just a compound path, and the background is some shapes. So just save this file as an Illustrator file, and we jump into After Effects and open this file. So let's go to After Effects. And let's close this window. So when After Effects is opened, you can use the project window and double click here to import a file. I'm going to import my Illustrator file, and then there is this little window that's asking, do you want a composition or some footage? We do composition, and the document size, what the dimensions, just leave it on document size and press OK. After Effects now made a composition with all the layers in it like you would have had in Illustrator. So what we want to do now is convert these layers in After Effects into shapes. So select all the layers by pressing 1, holding the Shift key, and select the bottom one. Right mouse button and go to Create Shapes from Vector Layer. You cannot do this with JPEGs. It have to be vector layers you make in Illustrator. So let's do that. After Effects just made some new layers and turn off the old layers, so we can delete these old layers. We can even delete all these layers if we want to. Yes. And now we only have this composition, and we have these shape layers built by After Effects. If we turn them off and we only leave the background on and we open this, you can see all the layers in Illustrator are now groups in this shape layer. And we can do with them what we want. So, to build our little animation, we're gonna first start with the tablet and resize it to the size of the phone. So we put on the phone and the tablet layer, and we are gonna go, we have a composition that's 5 seconds long, and we're gonna go to second number 2. We open up the contents of the tablet layer, and I know group number 2 is the edge layer. And if we open this up, we have 2 paths. One is the inner path and one is the outer path. So we can open these 2 also, and we can make some keyframes. So what we are doing now is we are making keyframes so we can animate the layer. At frame number 10 of second number 2, we're gonna make some new keyframes. You can do it this way, or you can just, you can also do it this way by deleting if you don't have keyframes and you are if you're moving some points, then After Effects will create a keyframe. So that's up to you. Let's make this window a bit bigger. We can resize the tablet layer. And we are dragging it to the edge of the phone. Notice we also moved the speaker, and we're going to turn it off for now. We're gonna fade it out later. Then we take the outer edge. First select the path and drag with your mouse over the points so they are selected. Hold your shift key so you are dragging in a straight line. If we zoom in, we can see we are on the edge of the phone where we want it to be. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. We're going to do the same with the top and the bottom. Okay, so what we created now is this rather boringly animation. Hop, it's going really quick. I'll just make my view timeline a bit smaller. Pressing the 0 on the keyboard to show the animation. Well, that's the start. What we're going to do now is, after 2 seconds and 10 frames, we're going to take 1 frame to turn off the camera. So we're going to open up the group. We can close group number 2. We open up the transform and we go to opacity. Go forward 1 frame by using the page down button on your keyboard and putting the opacity at 0. We can close this group. If you want to, you can name these groups by pressing enter and to make everything a bit okay. Now these are the volume buttons. We twirl these open also, open the transform, press on the opacity key frame, go back 1 step, page down, make another keyframe and put the last one on 0 and do the same for group 5 and 6. These are the volume buttons, they have 2 groups. Okay, go back forwards 1 step and put the opacity at 0. So now when we look back, you will see and I think it's better to, while the edge is moving, the other elements are fading out. So we're going to take 10 seconds for this. If you press U on your keypad, you see all the frames created. So on that layer that you have selected. So while the edge is shrinking to the size of the phone, the buttons are fading out. Okay? Okay. So what we're going to do next. So what we're going to do now is turn off the tablet. It first shrinks down, and after that we're going to fade it out because the phone is on top and we're going to only see the phone then. So selecting the layer, we put on the T for transparency, and we're going to make a keyframe going forwards one step, and then we're going to put the opacity at 0. So if we're going to watch that, up. Okay. And what I like to do then is cut off the layer. That you can do by selecting it and pressing Ctrl Shift D. Somehow my recording program is some sort of shortcut, so you can also drag it down. Okay. Now, and if we look at the animation again, we can see the background is not scaling, but the logo is scaling down. So let's do that first. So here's the logo. Turn it on, and so while the edge of the tablet is scaling, we're going to scale the logo. Press S for scale, put a keyframe over there, put a keyframe at 10 seconds, and make it fit in the phone. So let's say 50%. Okay, let's watch that. Okay. Okay, we're gonna track the background so it fits in the animation, and we can do that by well, first we're gonna make the animation a bit more exciting. So we're gonna press U on the layer, selecting all these layers. I'm gonna go to Keyframe Assistant and put Easy Ease, and now the animation is a bit more nicer. And what we can do now is make a copy of the tablet outline. So we're going to select it and press Ctrl D. And what I want to do is I'm going to solo the layer. I'm going to throw away the camera. I'm going to throw away all the other groups except for group number 2, that's the edge. And in the edge, I'm going to throw away path number 1. So what we have now is a mask, a track mask for the background. So I'm going to put it on top of the background. I'm going to rename it. And I'm going to go to TrackMate. If you don't see this, press F4 on your keyboard. You can toggle between the windows. And I'm going to put AlphaMate Track Mask. So, what you can see now, see what happens if I just turn off all the layers. You can see the mask shrinks down the backgrounds. And let's just give them their own color, just to make everything a bit more clear. Don't turn on this icon, this eye, because then you won't see the background anymore. So this is starting to look a bit like the animation I showed you. What we have to do also is turn off the phone until it's visible. So let's say over here. See how that looks. Okay. And now we're going to work on the second part, which is extend the track mask so we can see the background. Why isn't this showing? Because we have to delete this zero opacity keyframe. So now it stays on. Okay? And now we come to the part where we rotate the phone and we rotate also the background. You see over here, the tablet shrinks, it rotates, but it also rotates the background. What we want to do now is rotate the phone, and we're going to scale it up. So I'm going to open the properties, twirl down this icon, open up transform. So after the tablet is scaled down, we're going to want to start right away with the scale and the rotation. And we make 2 keyframes. We go ahead. So put them straight on the 10. Or maybe give it 5 frames to rest. And then we go up to 3 seconds. We put this on 110%. And we put the rotation on 90 degrees. So not on 90 times. So that's 0, and the second one is 90 degrees. Let's solo the phone layer and see how this looks like. This is very boring. So what we want to do is we want to ease this. So you can press F9 or you can do right mouse click and go to easy ease. And we want the rotation to be a bit later than the scale. So let's see how this looks. Still a bit boring. So what are we going to do is select the rotation keyframes by dragging your mouse, and we're going to press this button over here to see the graph. What we want to do is we want to overshoot it a little bit. So let's see how this looks. We can zoom in by pressing the plus. And we can drag this up a bit. Okay, that's starting to look a bit better. Okay, you can tweak this, or you can use some plugins to do this for you. I have here this easy plugin, but I think it's not free. You can do it manually, and you can tweak this the way you want. So let's say for now it's good. So unsolo this layer, and if you press this again, you go back to the normal window. The problem is the background is not connected to the phone layer. So we can do this by selecting the track mask and the background, and we're going to use this pick whip to link it to the phone outline. So what it's doing, it's following the properties of that layer. So when we press 0 now to see our preview, you can see the background and the track mask, because if we don't do the track mask, you see the background turns, but not the shape, because the shape is taken from the track mask. So go back before the animation and then pick whip the phone outline. No. Okay, and if we watch it now, you can see the phone and the background turn. So, see, this one is a bit smoother. This one I took a bit more time to animate it. But that's the basic animation. So put back the timeline to 5 seconds. And have a look at your results. Maybe I'm gonna put this a bit longer, the animation of the phone. Drag this out a bit. That's looking better. And what we can do now, because we want it to switch back, we can do this with keyframes, but we can also drag this composition into a new composition. And this composition is 5 seconds long, but let's make it 10 seconds by pressing Ctrl and K, and your properties come up, and instead of 5 we make this 10 and press OK. Now the composition is 10 seconds long, and if we duplicate this layer, we drag it to the end, so it starts when the first one ends, and we do the right mouse click and we do time reverse layer. So if you're looking at your results, you will see that it goes back the way it came, and you have an animation that goes from that can loop. And that's important. If you're making animations for website, it's nice to have animations that can loop. So this was part 1. There's also part 2, and in part 2 I will show you how you can export this video as an SVG using Body Moving and put it in your website. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in another SVG video. Thank you for watching.